The grandson of Right Thought. Welcome back to the School of Marvelous Light. Turn to the book of Exodus. Our last message, we were reading about the children of Israel, why their downfall, why they suffered, the people of God, why they are in the case that they are in, why they have found themselves in the case that they have found themselves in. You must remember that with the Israelites being God's people, they are a blessed people above all people. So the other nations understand that if you take possession of those people, then you will be blessed. You see? The other nations that are godless have no God. And one of those nations was Egypt. See? Whatever world power at the time, rest assured that they are going to have the children of Israel in their possession. Now let's just see if this is the case. Egypt, Babylon, Persia, Greece, Rome, and America. That's just a few that I've mentioned. And all of those world powers were the children of Israel in bondage? Yes, they were. So if nothing has changed, you see, then today it's the same. Like I said, turn your Bible to book of Exodus. Let's go to chapter 1. Start at verse 1. Now these are the names of the children of Israel, which came into Egypt. Every man in his household came with Yahkobah, Reuben, Shameon, Lawaya, and Yahudah, Issachar, Zabulun, Binyamin, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, Asher, and all the souls that came out of the loins of Yahkobah were 70 souls. For Joseph was in Egypt already. So now, the children of Israel and the father, Israel himself, are in Egypt. And Joseph died, and all his brethren, and all that generation. You see, the original family. Yahkobah and his 12 sons. They all died. And the children of Israel were fruitful, and increased abundantly, and multiplied, and waxed exceeding mighty. And the land was filled with them. Just like America. You see? Though we were in small few number, due to slavery and the calamity we suffered as a people, we multiplied abundantly and grew exceedingly mighty, and the land was filled with us. Now in Georgia, did they have something called Georgia Guidestones? Now, on those Georgia Guidestones, did it say the population was too high and needed to be reduced? Did Bill Gates also say that the population was too high and it needed to be reduced? You see whose population they're talking about? How they're not talking about the whole world when they say that? They're only talking about the Hebrews, as it always has been. Because check out what I'm saying to you. The Eurocentric people of the earth, are they falling in number or are they rising in number? They're actually falling in number. More of them are dying than are being born. So then how in the hell are you worried about overpopulation? Well, it's not your people you're worried about. Just like it wasn't the Egyptian people that the Egyptians were worried about. 8. Let's see. Now there arose up a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph. And he said unto his people, the Egyptians, Behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we are. See, like I said, they're talking about overpopulation, but yet their numbers are dwindling and falling. So what in the hell, how does that make sense? Well, if we look right here in this Bible here, we get the download and the code of them niggas without them having to tell us nothing. We know what the Pharaoh is thinking. There's a Pharaoh today, see? We know what he's thinking. He's thinking about reducing the population of Israelites because the Israelites are taking over because it's our time now. Just like the Israelites was taking over Egypt, see? 10. Come on, let us deal wisely with them. With who? The children of Israel. Let's deal wisely with them. Subtlety, see? Subtly. Lest they multiply, and it come to pass that when there falleth out any war, see this? If any war falls out, they join unto our enemies and fight against us, and so get them out of the land. See? So what did they say? They don't want the Israelites running. You see that? They don't want them getting out of the land. They don't want them to go. Which is the famous line, let my people go, see? And he wouldn't let them go. So they didn't want them to go, but they didn't want them to keep increasing in number. So they had to come up with a wise plan, they said, to deal wisely with them. So let's see what they did. Let's see what they did, Israel, because they ain't doing nothing different today. See? So if we know what they did then we know what they're doing now. See what I'm trying to tell you? We ripping the cloak off all these niggas. Romans, Egyptians, Canaanites. Shit, all them niggas about to get exposed. Sodom, Gomorrah. Shit, all of the wicked niggas. All of them. Let's go. He says, Therefore they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens. So they sent supervisors to their jobs where they worked. Woo, lordy, lordy, lordy. It made they work harder. Interesting. This is going to reduce the population doing this. See how it's subtle? How they're not all out waging war? They have waged war against Israel to take their numbers down. That's a war. That's war. They have planned war against Israel to take their numbers down. You see? He says, let us set over them taskmasters' jobs to afflict them with their burdens, make their jobs hard. See? And they built for Pharaoh treasure cities, Pithom and Ramesses. But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew. So the harder they made us work, the more babies we was making. Damn, what the hell's going on here? And they were grieved because of the children of Israel. See, they were grieved. So has it ever changed? You see that? Civil rights movement, Black Panther Party, and civil unrest and riots and Watts riots and Rodney King and all that shit is a thorn in the side of these niggas. They can't stand the Negroes because they can't get along with them. They grieved, see? And the Egyptians made the children of Israel to serve with rigor. They made them work hard-ass jobs. Work harder. So let's see if they're doing that in your world. Everything costs more, but yet you're getting paid less. And then they say, well, if you want to get the same money to pay for the same things you used to, work overtime. Isn't that what you have to do to keep your head above water? You have to work overtime and get that time and a half and shit now, just to do the same shit you used to do, working 8 hours a day. Correct? Alrighty then. Taking people's pensions away, taking their life savings away and all this other shit. You see? That's a plan on purpose. 14. And they made their lives bitter with hard bondage. You hear this? In mortar and in brick and in all manner of service. All manner of service. Working at the plant, working at Amazon. Where else the hell they got y'all working at? FedEx. Like these guys I'm watching right now building this building in brick and in mortar, see? They made that shit rigorous and hard. Wherein they made them to serve with was rigor. Everything they made the Israelites, every job they made them do was hard as hell to do. See? Now let's continue. See what else he said. 15. And the king of Egypt spake to the Hebrew midwives. So let's just see if that goes today. Let's take the word midwife out and put nurse. So the medical industry gave protocols to the nurses. Oh, interesting. To do what here? Of which the name of the one was Shifra, and the name of the other was Pua. And he said, when you do the office of a midwife to the Hebrew women and see them upon the stools, see, the stools to give birth, if it be a son, then you shall kill him. But if it be a daughter, then she shall live. Did y'all hear that, Israel? Did y'all hear it? So this is what they doing now. It ain't no different. They're plotting. There's a book called The Destruction of the Black Male. So I can't remember the name of that book, but it's about destroying little black boys. That's what the book is about. You see? And here we are reading it. Kill the Negro boys. Did this happen when Yahusha was born? Did this happen when Moses was born? Alrighty then. They were actually taking Hebrew boys in Egypt and throwing them into the alligators to eat them. Now let's see if Americans did that to Negro boys here. Go onto your computer, go to Google and look up alligator bait. Black babies, alligator bait. Look it up and see. And then you'll see that ain't nothing changed, because Abba said the place in which you now live is spiritually called Egypt. Spiritually means unseen. So they're doing the same thing that Egypt was doing to you in an unseen way. From behind the scenes, that's what they're doing. Okay, but the midwives feared El and did not as the king of Egypt commanded them. See, they were strong women. They stood up and said, no, we ain't about to do that. But they saved the men children alive. And the king of Egypt called for the midwives and said unto them, why have you done this thing and have saved the men children alive? And the midwives said unto Pharaoh, because the Hebrew women are not as the Egyptian women, for they are lively and are delivered ere the midwives come into them. They said, they're having their baby so fast, we ain't got time to get in there and kill the baby. Therefore, El dwelt well with the midwives. Why? Because they were saving his sons. Y'all see this? And the people multiplied, listen, and waxed very mighty. And it came to pass, because the midwives feared El, that he made them houses. Abba did this. And Pharaoh charged all his people, saying, every son that is born you shall cast into the river. What did I just tell you? What did I just tell you? And every daughter you shall save alive. So do y'all see that? Throw them in the river. This is how they feel about Israelites. This is how they feel about your babies. They waged war against your children, against your sons. So now they're doing it spiritually. So what does that mean? They're taking the father out of the house and casting this child into gator infested waters in a house without a father. It's the same thing is happening to the child. He's being destroyed. He's being eaten as a child. They just figured out a more subtle way to do the same things then. I told you, look up alligator bait black babies. They hate you. They've always made it obvious right here in the scriptures, and it continues to be so to this day. You see what I mean? How you must have knowledge or you'll be destroyed out here. You won't know what the hell's going on. You'll think working that job and slaving is a good thing. It ain't. It isn't. It's put right here to show you that it's rigorous. It's hard. Their lives, in verse 14, were made bitter because of the work. So why all y'all niggas talking about hard work and yes, and you just work a couple jobs, get 3 or 4 jobs and all that shit is rigor, hard bondage, nigga. That mean you a slave, nigga. That's what it mean. And in every manner of service that you do, they making you work hard to do that shit, ain't they? But if you give up that shit and take on Yahusha's burden, it's easy and light. Like I did. I walked away from that shit. You see? Hell no. You ain't about to slave me. I don't know what the hell these niggas think y'all is doing. Put no taskmaster on me to tell me what the fuck to do. Oh, no, you're not. Well, then how you gonna eat, grandson? I'm gonna take no thought of what I shall eat, bitch. Well, what are you gonna drink, grandson? I'm gonna take no thought of what I should drink, Egyptian bitch. You're not gonna put no yoke around my neck of iron, nigga. Them days is done. I told you, the 400 years is up and long gone now, nigga. And Israel's day is here now. We don't care that you hate it. We don't care that you want to reduce the number down from 5 to what is it? Whatever million down to 500,000 and all this shit. Just like here, it didn't work and the midwives feared my L over your ass. The same thing's happening now, nigga. The same thing is happening now. You see, you want to try to stop the Christ body from coming, just like Moses had the Christ body, just like Yahusha. Every time there's a Christ body come, they try to kill off the Hebrew boys. Are they trying to kill your Hebrew boys now? Well, let's just put it like this. We ain't even got to make it obvious. I mean, that it's about the Hebrews. Let's make it about the whole white world. Are they trying to kill you niggas with a stinger? Like a scorpion stings you? If they try to do that shit to you niggas, sting you and put some venom in you, okay then. So they trying to kill the Hebrew boys. They're trying to keep you from ascending. Y'all hear me today? Let's just talk. Okay, now that we read the scriptures and got through that, let's just have a little family conversation here while I'm just sitting here kicking it. I'm about to light up a blunt and smoke one with y'all. Hold up. Alright, let's burn some incense in the temple. Okay. Do you see this game they tried to pull on us? Family. They didn't try to get you to give up your birthright, which is your ability to ascend. Look, he who's going to ascend out of here and go to heaven, he must have first came from heaven. So then in your body is a little seed, and that seed will sprout one day. And when it sprouts, it gives you the ability to overcome the world. That's what they don't want. They want you working with rigor for them. And the harder you work, the more distracted you are, not able to hear the voice of your father. When your father tells you to make a move, you can't do it because you got to be to work at 6 o'clock in the morning and you got to stay in that bitch to 6 o'clock in the evening, nigga. And then you thought you was getting off work. And then they told you, no, you got to bring your ass, stay 2 more hours and do some overtime. We need more supply. You said, okay, damn. You gave him that day. Next day you said, okay, hopefully I'll be able to get off on time like we normally do. Pick up my kids from school. Them niggas told you better figure out a way to get your kids back home from school because we need your ass 5 more hours today, nigga. Talk about you can't do what God wants you to do. You can't even do what your wife wants you to do. You can't even do what your son would like you to do that day. You can't even do what your daughter wants to do with you that day. Why? Because you're too busy putting brick and mortar for the fucking Egyptians. You hear that? That's why you can't hang out with your kids. You can't set up the tent in the backyard and go out there and sleep when the weather is nice with them in the tent, because they'll love that. You don't want to do that kind of shit because your ass got to get up and go to work. Everything is about sacrifice today. What are you willing to sacrifice? And you say, well, I'm sacrificing by working 15-hour days. Okay, but that means you don't see the people you say you love. They have things that Abba told you don't take thought of. But you don't listen to Abba. You listen to Egyptians tell you, you want that coat for your kid? Work 10 hours for me. Y'all don't get that though. Now, why in the hell would I work 10 hours for you? When my master that I work for told me, see, my master told me, take no thought of what you shall wear. Is the body not more than raiment? Is my child not more valuable to me than the fucking Ugg boots that I'm going to put on her little feet? But instead of seeing her all day, I go work all day so that I can put some Ugg boots on her feet. Instead of not worrying about her little Ugg boots and caring about her feet. If you understand what I'm saying to you. Y'all want to come back home to Israel where it's free, where we are free? Like Sarah told us? See, Israel. Our mother Sarah said, the free woman's children. We are children of the free woman. So why in the hell are we slaving? Y'all didn't read in that place where Yahusha had to pull Peter aside? They said, y'all don't pay taxes. And Peter said, yeah, man, we pay taxes. Yeah, we do. And Yahusha pulled him to the side and said, hey, Peter. The people who own the land, do they charge taxes from their own children or do they charge from the slaves? And Peter said, shit, the slaves. And he said, so aren't the children free? Nevertheless, so that we don't offend them, go catch you a fish. And the first fish that comes up gonna have some money in his mouth. And the king is the coldest, ain't he? He said, we pay taxes. So did y'all hear the king? You see why the grandson of right thought don't do that kind of shit? See why the grandson of right thought don't work a 9 to 5? Why he don't render unto Caesar a damn thing? Caesar's not my dad. Why the hell would I listen to that nigga? That's like me being at the park playing. And my dad says, man, you can do whatever the hell you want to do in this park, man. This whole park is free range. Have fun, buddy. And he goes and sits on over to the side. Now, while I'm out there playing, another man, I don't know this nigga at all. He has his own kid over there, though. I see his ugly little chunky looking kid over there causing havoc in the fucking sandbox. So I ain't playing with that bitch over there. I'm over here on the slide. His dad comes over to me and says, hey, you. I go, huh? I'm the little kid. I say, yeah. He says, you're not allowed to play on that fucking slide. Do y'all hear me? Israel. Do you hear me? You're not allowed to play on that slide. I'm going to tell that guy, well, my dad says I can. Who the hell are you? Bitch. Nope. Matter of fact, you're not allowed to play at all. Come off of that slide and come over here because I need you to clean up this sand block. Pick these toys up. Pick all these toys up. And then the little kid gets off the slide and starts going over there and picking up all of the toys and everything. What do you think that dad's going to say? Well, in case you don't know, I'll help you. If that were me, I'd simply walk over there to that other father and I say, excuse me, I don't know who you think you are, but you see that little chunky looking motherfucker over there causing havoc in the sandbox? That's your child. Why don't you deal with him? This one here is mine. You don't talk to him. You don't look at him. Don't touch him. Don't utter another word to him. See how that goes? And he ain't gonna do it neither. Cause daddy don't play about his. He don't play about his. All you gotta do is let him know that you know you is his. Ain't that something? I told you we just kicking it today. Come on, y'all. Y'all know this is true. He just wants you to acknowledge that you his baby. Abba Yah is my daddy. Nah, who is your daddy? Caesar? You see why he says render unto Caesar that false image of Christ. What is his name? Is his name Caesar? See, Caesar painted himself up as Christ and said, now y'all worship me. Hell the fuck no. Just like I tapped that little image on top of his head until he shattered down to a million pieces, I'm gonna tap anybody else on their fucking head coming over to me talking about worship Jesus Christ Superstar. Tunic Boy. Nope. I don't know who the hell that is. Depart from me, you worker of iniquity. Caesar. And y'all don't know. I told you the people have the power. Do you see what Abba's doing here today? He's letting us know that all we have to do is say no. And then say, well, when I feel like eating, Abba gonna give me some manna. And if he's feeling extra generous and just want me to have some grace for my flesh, he'll give me some quails. Just long as I don't over partake, I'm good. See, when I get hungry, I go, no thought. That's the way you actually do it, because Abba Yah does that. He doesn't get hungry. So then, therefore, he's filled. That's what you say. Soon as you think you need to eat something, you just go, I am filled. And then you bring your wife in and say, wife, I'm filled. Isn't that a wonderful feeling? She goes, oh, yeah. Yep, it sure is. And then you just keep on walking and kabliggity blow. There it goes right in front of you. Here it goes right in front of you. I'm just trying to tell you that's how it goes, and that's how Abba wants it to go. What did he say? Your shoes ain't going to wear out? Oh, boy. And y'all are wondering about buying your baby the Ugg boots. You see what I'm trying to tell you? Abba said their sandals did not wear out the whole 40 years that they wandered. Do you hear that or not? Their clothes did not wear out the whole 40 years that they wandered. Now, the children of Israel entered not into this place that I'm telling you I'm at right now because they don't believe it's possible. I'm telling you it is. I worked at General Motors, okay, with high seniority and all, health benefits and every damn thing, working at GM. And I got up at lunch one day and I walked out of that building and I drove home. And I opened my door and my children were there. And I felt a feeling of joy and relief and freedom I hadn't felt in I don't know when. Since I was a child. And I put my arms around my wife and my children. And I enjoyed that summer that Abba gave me with them. Because it was the last that I would ever have with them. But I didn't go to work. I didn't know. I thought I was just going to just live my life with them and keep on going. No, I only had that summer. And it was a beautiful one. It was a beautiful summer with those individuals that were around me that I decided to spend my time with. Thank you, Father, for your grace. I got up at lunch and I walked away. And a couple years later, I saw a coworker. And he said to me, hey, man, wow. I was laying in the grass when he saw me. Watch this, guys. It was years later. I am a completely transformed new guy. It's 2017. I walked away from General Motors 2016 March. So it's like August 2017. So I said a couple years, a year. Okay. Well, here comes this guy. He sees me. I'm laying in the grass meditating. I have on a pair of shorts no shirt, sweating because I just been laying in the clear sun. It's like, I said, it's August, it's hot. And he comes, he's like, hey, man. I'm like, oh, snap. I get up off the ground. I'm like, hey. He's like, oh, I saw you was over here chilling. I really didn't want to say nothing, but I haven't seen you. I was excited. I'm like, what's going on? Well, we chatted for a while. He had a beer. He was like, you want some? I'm like, no, I'm good. Well, he drank his beer, and we sat there for a while. We just kicking it and chilling. And he was like, hey, man, you can come back to work. I'm like, I ain't thinking about going back to work. I'm like, what is you talking about? He like, bro, I'm telling you, whenever you decide that you want to come back, you can come back whenever. That's just the way it is there. Once you in there, you in there. And because you got high seniority, you can just come back whenever you want. All you have to do is tell them that you had a mental breakdown because of the things you was going through with you going through a divorce. He's like, you got divorced, so you went through that. Your sister going through her health ailments and all that stuff. Tell that to them, and they'll put you right back to work. He was like, as a matter of fact, they'll give you a better job in an office somewhere. You'll be making more money. Now, why in the hell do you think he's saying that to me? Because it's the enticement. See, the temptation. Come back, man. You ain't making no money. You ain't doing shit. You just living here at your sister's house. See? You see what I was told y'all I was doing instead of at work. He worked there too. He was just getting off work. Happened to be running into me. He happened to see me and run into me. Told me I could still come back. I said, all right, man. And he went on his way, and I went on back and laid it back in the grass again. Shit, what the hell you talk about? I'm out here laying out here with the bumblebees, kicking it with them, man. They letting me pet on their head and everything. I'm chilling with them. I don't know what the hell this guy's talking about going back to brick and mortar. Shit. You're crazy as hell. I ain't going back to that cesspool of wickedness and sin. And that's the thing y'all got to understand. You got to know, like, it's not the job itself. Israelites are strong, man. We built nations like Egypt, see? We're capable of doing it. It's not that. It's who you're around. It is the environment that you're putting yourself in. Especially in a place like that, if you know what I'm talking about. So like I said, man, we could talk about this all day. But it's time that y'all understand that y'all have the power to do what Yahusha said, to stop taking thought of those things, get rid of your fear, walk away from Egypt so that Egypt will crumble and fall in a day. Because it's only held up because you're holding it up. Silaram Israelah. Oh, before I go, when that restrainer is removed, it's only held up as long as you're holding it up. Silaram Israelah.